morning, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to Two Dog Genders, episode 248. Good morning, Michael. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Good, man.
Mm,
I think we combed through a few of our technical issues, um
a little bit.
and we
R-
we we got to the point we're going to be okay for a couple of days till we get a couple of the things that we need to move forward. But here we are. We're back. It's 248. Mike, two more shows. Two more shows. Can you believe we're going to be at 250
That's
on
in
Monday?
Monday, big 250. Hopefully by then, all the cameras will be worked out and Ryan won't be recording from a security footage from the 1980s.
That's true. That's true. Looks like I'm watching the hospital.
It does too. It, it,
Is
it
it the
is.
hospital?
It's comical. And somewhat, my setup too. I don't change the lighting. The lighting is the same, and it looks worse than it did yesterday. Yesterday, the past couple days, I like the way my lighting looks. Now it looks terrible. I can't figure it out. I'm annoyed. I'm frustrated on my end too.
Maybe it's your face.
It probably is my face. I got like this thing on my nose.
Oh, the nose again.
It's bugging me because I don't know what I did. I don't touch my nose a whole lot, so I don't. It bothers me. So now I got to sit like this. I'm gonna sit like this.
You look like Rudolph.
I do, and it's annoying me. It is so annoying.
But anyway, we do have a show. We have a show for you today. We salvaged it. We averted disaster. Here we are. We're gonna put something together for you,
Yes.
Mike. Mike, a couple things to get started. It came out that the Pittsburgh area is amongst the cities with the best Super Bowl ratings. The best Super Bowl ratings. Is that any surprise to you that people in Western Pennsylvania watch football more than
Uh,
anybody else?
no, none whatsoever, and especially how you talked about earlier in the week leading up to the Super Bowl. The
Yeah,
amount of players from this area that were
right.
playing in the Super Bowl, whether they grew up in the area or like Avonte Maddox went to Pitt.
Yeah,
So it does not surprise me that we do love our football here, and a lot of the decent amount of the guys, what 4 or 5 of them either
yeah,
played for the Steelers, played for Pitt, or lived in the area close to the area. So yeah, it had no surprise whatsoever that we were up that this area was up there in viewership for the Super Bowl.
absolutely. When I see that, I thought, you know what? It's not a surprise to me. Every once in a while, you read something that says the opposite, and that
Hmm.
surprises you a bit. It's like, this area, this city, they're all high up there, and then
Yeah,
Pittsburgh is like at 15, which I think is crazy because again, there's nothing in Pittsburgh that's more important than football.
yeah,
And like I said, once I seen this, I thought, you know what, that really it's par for the course.
it is. We love our football. As I stare directly into the camera, yeah, we do. We love our football here. Like whether the Steelers are in it or not, we're gonna watch it. Now, if the Steelers
Absolutely.
suck, local viewership for that game will suck. But like those big national games, a game like the Super Bowl, yeah, we're gonna watch it.
Yeah.
We'll show our displeasure with the team, but not with the sport in general.
Right. Right. Speaking of the team, Mike, a couple big news stories as of today.
Yeah.
Of course, Don Mitchell,
Yes.
Steelers assistant head coach, after 29 years, Mike, he finally decided to hang it up. 29 years, 3 decades.
Yeah, I got when I saw it, I thought he retired a few years ago, but then it was like, oh no, like they bumped him up to like associate head coach or assistant head coach, and he was still what the defensive line coach, correct? If I'm not mistaken.
I'm not real sure. That
I
might
can't.
have been.
I think that was his specialty. Like he would find those young players and like groom them into those dominant defensive linemen. Now I feel like an idiot talking out of my ass, but I believe that was John Mitchell.
You know what? Any way you slice it, I mean, 30 years.
That's a long ass time.
It's a long time for anything. I mean,
Yeah,
that's a lifetime, and good for him. Hope you enjoy your retirement, Coach Mitchell. Um, a
exactly.
name, a name, Mike, that did pop up immediately after seeing this was Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah,
Any chance that Eric Bieniemy could wind up on the sideline of this thin? I mean, it's a thin coaching staff right now. I mean, we've already lost three coaches prior to Coach Mitchell. So, when Mitchell retired, I mean, this is a completed coaching staff. At some point, they're going to have to start getting some people in here to do some of these jobs. Do you see Eric Bieniemy being a possibility of being
No,
on the sideline in Pittsburgh?
no, none whatsoever. He's the only way he would come here is to be the offensive coordinator. And, the owner more or less said, we're not getting rid of our offensive coordinator. So we are stuck with him. The only way he would come in, it kind of like John Mitchell, would be like the associate head coach, assistant head coach, and like the offensive supervisor. But why would he do that? He can go somewhere else. Eric Bieniemy should go somewhere and be a head coach.
Yeah,
With his resume, he should be a head coach. He's not going to come here to be another offensive coordinator. Why would he leave? Why would he leave um, Kansas City to go anywhere else to be the same position? He should be he should be a head coach. If he's going to leave Kansas City, go and be a head coach.
right.
I he has no. I We're not going to get him here. It's anytime there's a name on offense that pops up. Oh, coming to Pittsburgh. Oh, coming to Pittsburgh. No,
Well,
Frank Reich
I've
wants to be a
seen,
head coach, and the enemy, like, he would be stupid to leave Kansas City
and I
if
don't,
not
I
to be a
don't
head coach.
disagree with you. As a matter of fact, whenever I was going through some posts this morning and going through threads of posts, I noticed a couple of people would actually said that. People said, as soon as any big name comes available,
Yeah.
people from here always say that they come in here. But I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. I think, again,
No.
that's just the, anticipation. People are very excited about their football around here. And you know what? If you could link a name to the Steelers like Eric Bieniemy or a few of these other names that I'm about to
Yeah.
go into, it's exciting. And, like I said, it's fun to run through the course
Oh yeah, I would.
day. And Eric Bieniemy will certainly be one of them. But I agree. I don't think
Yeah,
Eric
but
Bieniemy
I
will be
I
here.
I would not be opposed. Don't get
No,
me wrong. If he comes up under the coaching staff, that would be huge. It'd be a huge plus. But inside the real world realm of thinking, there's no way he would leave unless he's going to go somewhere else to be an offensive coordinator and has guarantees that, hey, you're going to be the head coach here down the line, or have a chance to be the head coach here. He's already won what, 2 Super Bowl victories as the offensive coordinator. Yeah, he's down there in Kansas City. He has Patrick Mahomes. He's working with Andy Reid. But just about any other coach with that resume should be getting interviews to be a head coach. And
right.
it's just weird that he's not.
Yeah, he's going to end up somewhere. That's the thing. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Eric Bieniemy is going to land himself a job. He's going to probably do
Yeah.
pretty well. I like the guy. I liked him all the way back when he was a running back for Colorado. Yeah, we were kids, Mike. We were
Oh
young.
God.
Years.
Only I don't remember that. I just remember him as a coach. To me, he's always been a coach somewhere.
Really,
Yeah,
he
he's always
was
been a coach.
we were number one. He was a running back. And he was very dominant. I remember the one thing they always said about Eric Bieniemy was his upper legs were so huge.
Mm-hmm.
His thighs were like tree trunks. That's the one thing I always remember about him. So it is good to see him still being in the league, still doing what he loves
Yeah.
to do. And like I said, nothing but the best for Coach Eric Bieniemy. Also, Mike, today is the birthday of Jerome Bettis, the bus. Mike, Jerome Bettis, I want to wish him a happy birthday.
Oh,
Bussy,
boss.
talking about a fan favorite in Pittsburgh. Huh?
Oh God. Talk
he,
about
he he falls into that category of guys that you're never ever going to hear Pittsburgh
no,
people badmouth.
no. Almost. There's that 10-second window when he fumbled.
Well,
When
yeah,
he almost became a villain. But no.
we almost disowned him at
Oh,
that point.
exactly. But you want to talk about Jerome Bettis? You want to talk about one of the greatest draft day steals? We When he was on the Rams at that point. I think they were in St. Louis in that iteration. We end up making a trade, couple like draft picks. We get him. They draft Leonard Little out of Nebraska, and Jerome Bettis goes on to a Hall of Fame career, and Leonard Little was out of the league in a few years. It was
Right.
Leonard Little, correct? The running back. It was
I
always in
believe
and
it
out of.
was
No, Leonard Little was the linebacker. Excuse me.
he was number one for Nebraska. Lawrence, Lawrence was either first or last name. One of the names was
Yeah,
Lawrence.
yeah, yeah. Lawrence Phillips.
Lawrence Phillips. That's right. He
Yeah,
was yes, he was supposed to be
but
big name.
yeah, it's big. Yeah, he was going to be the next big thing. He had the talent, but he's one of those guys that couldn't stay out of trouble. But excuse me. So yeah, talk about Jerome Bettis. Draft day 2 by the Steelers at that point. We get him. They get Leonard Phillips. Jerome Bettis goes on to have a Hall of Fame career. People thought he like St. Louis, like, oh, he's a bum, he's a bust, he's never going to get any better.
Well, if you recall, he
I
was a
love it.
cancer. He was a cancer in
Yes,
the
that's right. Jerome
locker
was a
room
locker room cancer.
for the LA Rams. Maybe St. Louis at the time. I don't recall. The team bounced back and forth, but they did. He was a cancer. They were saying he's a problem in the locker room. And I
Yes.
tell you what, either he really pulled one over us here in Pittsburgh, or the people in the Rams organization were totally out of their mind because the guy was anything but that. He was anything but a cancer when he came to Pittsburgh. I mean, the fans loved him from the day he got here to the day he retired. His work ethic was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
He was at always for community things like that. So, like I said, either he pulled a long, pulled the sheet over our eyes for a long time, or the people with the Rams
Yeah.
were just out of their mind because that was not the guy that we received,
No.
the guy that they were saying that he was.
I think that's more or less coach and ownership speak for like we just don't like this guy.
Right.
So we're just gonna do what we can to get rid of him and try and tarnish his name on the way out the door.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it sounded like, kind of what it looked like because there was never any issues when he was in Pittsburgh, and there's been none even after he's left the NFL. So
no, nothing but good. Nothing but good.
Yeah.
Nothing but good has ever come out about him. And the thing is, he fell into Mike into the modern day um, immortal or immortal Pittsburgh Steelers. The people that your Ben, your Bettis, these guys. There's a handful of them. Troy Polamalu, they are your modern day '70s Steelers in a sense.
Yeah.
Through the rest of ever, you're never going to hear anybody say anything bad about them. They are going to be, the greats of all time for the Steelers. Mm-hmm. And I love JB. I really do, Mike. He was amazing. And there were times when he played, and it wasn't often. But do you remember those games where he couldn't and like I said, it wasn't often.
Mm-hmm.
If you recall those games where he couldn't get out of the backfield, I think it was like those late '90s Patriots teams. They had a really good defense. And I used to think to myself, how rare is a team stops him like that, and to have that thought just shows you how special he was because it was few and far between. Jerome just didn't have a Jerome Bettis kind of day. And I could single-handedly on one hand count the amount of times, Mike, that I remember him having one of those games where he just couldn't get it going. He was that effective year in, year out, week in, week out. I love the Bucs, man.
Well, especially and then you have to think latter day Jerome Bettis. When we brought in Deuce Staley, then Willie Parker.
Yeah.
And he was still effective in that role. They would bring him in more or less. He was the closer,
Yeah.
He'd be like a Lou Brown in Major League. Like, give me Vaughn. He'd come in and he'd close out the game. And my God, I remember those games when he had the stat lines, 3 carries for 1 yard and 2 touchdowns.
You remember that.
Something so ridiculous that that's what they needed him for. Everyone else would do the work, and he'd go in and get the glory at the end. But then he'd come in and close out the game. And that was no disrespect to people like Willie Parker or Deuce Staley.
No.
But when you had that team tired, okay, you're going to bring in your battering ram. You're going to bring this guy in because no one's going to want to hit him at this point.
Right.
I would rather tackle Willie Parker than Jerome Bettis in the fourth quarter. But how many times you would see DBs come flying up, they see it was Jerome, and they would just turtle or run away. I remember distinctively against someone in the Bengals, a cornerback saw who it was and just kind of I'm just going to turn upfield and run parallel to him and kind of maybe I can steer this bull out of bounds.
I remember one play in particular, it was against the Jets, in the early part of the 2000s, and Reggie Tongue was guilty of this. He was a defensive back for the Jets at the time. And it was the same thing. I think we were down inside the 10-yard line, and Bussy got it, and Tongue came up like he was ready to make the play. But once he realized that the guy on the second level didn't make the play, and it was going to come down to him for a touchdown, he literally moved out of the way, stuck one hand out to make it look like there was an effort made. There was no way. There was no way.
No.
I can't say that I blame him.
No, me either. If I, if I did that and the coach come up, why'd you do that? It's that's Jerome Bettis. I'm not going to die for 7 points.
Right.
Offense can go out there and score next possession. Let's get that back. I'm going to live to see the next day, coach.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bussy was amazing, man.
Still one of my favorite is when he bowled over Brian Urlacher.
Oh yeah.
Oh god, in that game, it was a must win. The Steelers need to win this game. Here comes the vaunted Bears defense. Brian Urlacher, greatest middle linebacker ever at this point. Blah blah blah. Bettis just carried him into the end zone like he was a child. It
That
was
was the most
beautiful.
amazing season because it almost had to play out that way. Like we had to win 4 games to finish out that year to even make the playoff.
We had a final six, I
And,
believe.
and we won those, and we got in
Yeah.
as a 6 seed.
Mm-hmm.
We won some games that we, probably shouldn't have won.
Should not have won any of those. A lot of those games.
Yeah, we played 1, 2, and 3 to get to the Super Bowl. They beat 1, 2, and 3, and then they get into the Super Bowl and win. And it ended out in the way that it was at Jerome Bettis' backyard. It was up in Detroit. We go up there, we win the Super Bowl. He retires, rides out on his white horse. It was one of the most perfectly played out finishes to a career, especially to a Hall of Famer that I've
heard. Oh yeah, one of my all-time favorite Jerome Bettis quotes. It was him being asked how he feels being a big back in the league, power back. He's like, I'm not a big back. I'm a shifty back. I'm a shifty runner.
He was shifty.
He was too. Like for a big guy, he went on to explain, I move my body, so I don't get hit. I want to limit those direct hits.
Right.
If someone's going to hit me, I'm going to shift my body so they hit me at an angle on the side so it's less force and save my body that way. And that's a smart move. And yeah, you see these running backs that, kind of like an Earl Campbell who would always go and hit people out of the league quick and major problems. Like Franco Harris, people would always say the big thing about Franco Harris is, he ran out of bounds. He's a wimp. No, he saved himself. He prolonged his career, prolonged his life too by playing that way.
The thing is, if they're going to the sideline, get to the sideline first and tackle them.
Exactly, yeah.
When people do that, they did that a lot with the Greatest Show on Turf back in the late 90s or the 2000s, the Rams. A lot of times, Holt and Isaac Bruce, they would do this, they would catch it, and they were bang right out of bounds. And that was so frustrating for teams because they thought, at least the guy's catching it, they're gaining yards. Let's at least put a punishment on them.
Yeah,
and it was very difficult to do because these guys they got out and they got out often, and it really frustrated defenses. And you know what? It's a effective strategy.
It is too. There's a receiver. I think he still plays for Seattle. He'd catch the ball, take 4 or 5 steps, fall down to the ground.
Yeah.
Hey, you're taking less hits on your body. You got yardage. Might as well save yourself. Less chance of a fumble. And like you said, you're going to frustrate that defense to where, they want to hit someone. Then, hey, they hit you after you down yourself or run out of bounds. Take that free 15 yards.
Absolutely. Mike, I want to talk a little bit about some things that just may be here in Pittsburgh. So this morning I read some names. I'm going to run them by you.
All right. See how many of these names I know.
Well, you know all these names.
Oh God, pressure's on.
I just need your opinion because here was my thought, Mike. I think if we go after a wide receiver, he's not going to be a draft pick. I think that we go for a wide receiver, he's more than likely going to be a free agent.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of holes we have to fill. We need to get young people in that are good. And with what we already have at wide receiver with Pickens on one side, with Austin, a couple of these other guys, I think if they go after a receiver, it's going to be a free agent. And here's a name that I see pop up this morning.
Okay.
That I thought was interesting, and I don't think he would be bad. And I think that I think we would be able to land him. What do you think about Brandon Cooks like? He got speed.
He got speed. He is. He's not that old for a receiver. Man, if we can get him for the right value, I would not be opposed to bringing him in.
Somebody like him would be a nice fit.
Yeah, I would.
He's not too big of a name, so you think that we could probably pull it in the sense that we could afford him. Finagle things to make it happen. And he's not going to be overshadowing your George Pickens and all the things we do have going on. I think Brandon Cooks might be a good fit, Mike, for the.
Yeah, where are we at here? Oh God, it's not giving me his breaking it down all the way here. So not bad. 132 games. Total of, oh my God. This thing is all jacked up. His stats. Oh, I'm lost on. But yeah, I would not be opposed to bringing him in. He, um, hold on here. Pro Football Reference is being so stupid. I just want to see his stats. Oh my God. These websites make everything so hard. I don't have his, there we go, career. There we go. All right. So he had what, 600 and about just under 700 yards last year, 3 touchdowns. Um yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to him. He's only had 1, 2, 3 years where he's had less than 1,000 yards receiving.
That's what I'm saying.
So
He's a good receiver.
good
And we're
receiver.
not looking for to pull in a Jamar Chase in this kind of
No.
situation. You're looking to find a solid player
Yeah.
who's been in the league for a few years, who knows the game, and like I said, he got speed. He's effective, and you're looking for somebody to complement the receivers that we already have. I think somebody like him would be a nice fit for that.
No, I would not be opposed. Oh, I don't know if he's still under contract or is he a free agent?
I don't know, but his name did pop
Yeah,
up.
he's still under contract, so it doesn't have to be a trade. It looks like. Um, yeah, I would not be opposed to trying to figure out a way to bring him here. Um, he's, I mean, he can't be worse. He's not worse than Deontay Johnson. He put up those numbers with those bad quarterbacks that they have down in
Yeah,
Houston.
and he even
So
scored 3 touchdowns.
yeah,
Name number two.
Brandon Cooks is under contract. He will cost $18 million next year. So kind of around same level as Deontay Johnson. So hey,
Yeah, we
maybe
paid that
maybe
money
maybe
out for.
swing a trade to flop hit Deontay to Houston for him. Might have to be a draft pick going back one way or the other. I do it, See if you can.
Hold that thought because I'm going to be moving a
Oh,
draft pick here in a minute.
oh,
Um,
oh,
team number or player number two. Now this player I believe has zero chance of ending up with Pittsburgh. You know what? I'm not even upset with that.
yeah.
However, the name came up this morning because this player scrubbed Baltimore from all of the social media this morning. I don't know if it's an
Ooh,
issue, but Patrick Queen, there's an issue in Baltimore. He erases Baltimore from his social media, and immediately, as we were talking about just a few minutes ago, everybody in Pittsburgh now says, "Can we get Patrick Queen?" I don't think we can get Patrick Queen. I don't. Ultimately, I don't want Patrick Queen. I think he's a great linebacker. I just think that they have so much going on right now with that defense. They just bring over the guy from Chicago. I think they're either going to make something work, and I think that it would be the last thing in the world that Baltimore would do would be to have some kind of trade, some kind of situation with the Steelers. I think they would tag him before they would let him wear the black and gold.
they would have to do something. There's no, like you said, there's no way Baltimore's going to let him come over to the Steelers.
Yeah,
They would be that would be the dumbest move ever. And Baltimore, they're not known for making bad mistakes
yeah.
like that. Yeah, I would love to have him on our team. He's only been in the league 3 years, I believe, and
And he's a beast. That's no ways
he,
about it.
he is a beast.
I just don't
Um,
see that man. For many reasons. For many reasons, I just don't see that man wearing the black and gold
no, yeah,
anytime in the near future, at least.
yeah, and he's up. His contract's gonna be coming up, and let's see, yeah, 2024 is his last year under contract. He's on for 4. I think there's the an club option or that like 50-year option in 2024. Yeah, so this is like his last year of like guaranteed pay, and he's only making $2 million this year. And
Wow,
for the stats that he has put up, he's worth a whole hell of a lot more than that.
absolutely.
Yeah, 106 tackles his rookie year, 97 his second year. He dropped off. Now 117 tackles last year. That's not bad. Not bad for a middle linebacker,
No,
especially they still play rock like 3-4 hybrid 4-3. Yeah, they run the 3-4. Not bad. So you're gonna have to pay him. You're gonna have to pay Roquan Smith. They're gonna have to pay Lamar Jackson. Someone has to go.
Yeah,
And if it's this guy, Pittsburgh, call him up.
absolutely.
Trade a future first round pick for him. Get him in here. But once again, that defense, our defense is already up over $100 million. How are we going to fit this guy in?
Right.
I said, oh, I would love to have him. Dude's a beast.
Like I said, I just don't see it. I don't see it being possible. And like I said, I think that Baltimore would do many things
Yeah.
before they would allow anything to
I,
happen.
I, yeah, I think they would never make a trade with Pittsburgh for him. Never.
Player three of four.
All right.
Player three of four. First was Brandon Cooks.
Get him if you can.
Second was Patrick Queen. Third, Chase Winswitch. He is a offensive lineman from the Browns. Now his name came floating in, Mike, because they're saying he would be a budget free agent move that the Steelers could make. Do you know anything about his performance? Would he be worth it? Chase Winswitch.
I
Winswich maybe?
Chase offensive lineman.
Yes.
I see Chase Vinovich, their defensive end.
Maybe that's what it is. For some reason I have it not listed.
Yeah, because Chase Vinovich, if I remember, was he the guy who started his career in New England?
Is he a white guy?
Yeah, he's a white guy.
Yeah, okay, maybe that's the same guy. I don't know.
Yeah, he started out with the New England Patriots. Yeah, Chase Vinovich. In 2019, he was kind of like Steeler blogs and some reporters were saying like this should be a guy to take a look at in the draft, and he was picked like either right before someone we took or right after we drafted someone. So he was, yeah, I remember him. He's a playmaker off that edge. He would be a nice compliment to have. Not a starter. He's not a starter at this point in his career. I don't think. I'd rather have him be that backup reserve for an edge rusher.
Yeah.
I think that's where he's going to project. He's going to project more as a 3-4 outside linebacker, backing up either Watt or Highsmith.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where he was playing out of college, and like when he came to New England, he went to the New England. He was like kind of like a 4-3 rush end, so he'd be an outside linebacker in the 3-4, and he was drafted in the third round in 2017 or 2019, excuse me. 77th
like
pick.
I don't know why he's listed as an outside or as an offensive lineman. Sorry, but so he was on my list, and then also Mike, the fourth player. Now the talks on this fourth player are starting up again, and this is what is connected with this player. Okay.
Okay.
The people are starting to create a buzz again about Jalen Ramsey. Now, here's what the latest rumors would be. For the Steelers to deal their 32nd overall pick, mainly, and I'm sure there'll be other things involved.
Yeah.
The 32nd overall pick, Mike, would that be worth it to you to bring Jalen Ramsey to Pittsburgh?
I don't know.
You still got 17 and 48 or whatever it is, and
well, you wouldn't have to take a cornerback, which we have trouble developing.
That was my thinking as well, because
yeah,
you just don't know with us drafting corners, and so we don't have a good history of doing that. So bringing somebody in who's a seasoned veteran and he has had success, and he has great success, as a matter of fact, in the league.
Yeah,
he might be worth a 32.
Depending on who we get with that first pick in the draft, excuse me, at 17, I would have no problem taking him.
Yeah.
For that pick,
I'd love to see him in the Steelers.
Yeah, because he's what, 28 years old. He could probably get a couple more years out of him, 2 to 3 more years, like Absolutely. At least 3, maybe if we're lucky, 4 years out of him. Okay, That's fine. That's more than we've gotten out of any rookie corner we've drafted, other than Cameron Sutton. So, if we can get a stud offensive lineman at 17, Jalen Ramsey at 32, and then a nice player at wherever we pick again. I can't do the math. What,
40
49?
or 49, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you can swing that, get a starter with your first round pick, get Jalen Ramsey a potential starter or key contributor with that, with our own second round pick, I would take that. And you still have a decent third round pick to go.
I mean,
I you,
I mean, the guy, I mean, he's a
I
premier
would do it.
cornerback in the league.
Yeah, because boom,
You're
you
not going to get much better than him.
no, you're gonna have your starting corner. Then if you can bring back Cam Sutton at a reasonable price, okay, you have
I think
him,
they will.
Sutton, and who's the other corner from Buffalo last year? Played at Alabama,
Levi
Levi
Wallace.
Wallace. That's not a bad combo to have because we go dime or nickel, Sutton bounces inside, while Levi goes to the outside. I would take that. All depends on what we can do with if we can get Edmonds back at a reasonable rate. I'm kind of liking that secondary. And then if we
Oh,
get if we get
absolutely.
if we get the best guard in the draft or one of the top three offensive tackles in the draft, secure that offensive line. I'm liking this. I'm liking this move. It may be the alcohol talking right now, but I'm liking this move. I
But
like this
you know,
more out of anything else that we've talked about.
the thing is, Mike, the guy, I mean, he's proven he's one of the best corners in the league. So let's say you do give up a 32, and you get Jalen Ramsey at 98%. He's still better than most of the cornerbacks in the league.
Yeah.
On top of what you said, you bring Torello and Pratt back. You have Minkah Fitzpatrick back there, Levi, Cam. The secondary all of a sudden looks a lot better
Oh
than
yeah.
last year, and you know with the defense coming together. And if we could, like I said, if we put something together in free agency and bring over somebody to play the middle linebacker spot next to Miles Jack, again, this defense is going to start looking like that $100 million or whatever it is that we pay for a defense.
Oh yeah.
It's not going to be so porous because you're going to fill those holes. Like the holes are going to be filled. And like I said, I think that giving up a 32 certainly worth getting one of the best cornerbacks in the league.
Oh, exactly. And I don't have his exact salary cap listed here for me. If I can find it, I will let everyone know because I know he just signed a new contract if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, so 17 million this year, 14 and a half in 2024 and 15 and a half in 2025. That's not bad.
and if you're getting top,
Not bad at all.
you're getting top performance out of him, it's worth every penny
Yeah.
because
And
this
then
passing league, we found out last year against
mhm.
those teams like Buffalo, the teams like Philadelphia when we lost 35-10,
Yeah.
38-3. These are the kind of guys that we do need back there. We're not going to be playing the Cleveland Browns every week,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And, so I think, this day and age, you got to have a guy at your quarterback position that you're confident with.
Yeah.
And you feel that you're going to win football games with and because of that guy.
Yeah.
It's a passing league. It's not the same league that we grew up with. And like I said, to bring in one of the top guys at that position, I think goes such a long way, Mike. I would love to see whether it happens or not, but I do know that the talks keep coming and going. They keep coming and going about Ramsey. And every time I think that it kind of passes, it's like, okay, well, let's see what else is going on. His name pops up again.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad idea to keep your eye on Jalen Ramsey.
It's not. And, like we said, he's still one of the better corners in the league. And
Absolutely.
like, why wouldn't you want to take that guy? I
Yeah, I
would.
agree.
I would do the damn everything I could to take a look to see, hey, what's the chances of this happening? Or, can we get him? What's it going to take to get him? And if it is that second round pick, so we're going to turn Chase, more or less, we're going to turn Chase Claypool into Jalen Ramsey.
Exactly.
I will take that in a heartbeat. Thank you, Omar Khan.
Absolutely.
Like you
Absolutely.
would be stupid not to make that trade.
I agree. I agree 100%. 100%. If that happens, Mike, I will be excited, as will a bunch of people around the area, because, like I said, once it does come up in the rumor talk and people start talking about it, people do get very excited
Mm-hmm.
about it. But that still remains to be seen, Mike. So let's keep our fingers crossed. So we like Brandon Cooks. We're pretty confident that Patrick Queen won't be here.
Yeah.
The gentleman from Cleveland, it was a little mix up. I'm not real sure about now because I don't know how much we would need that. While we do have a lot of other needs going on, and
Like
finally,
to have a nice backup there at the that outside linebacker position, that rush edge position, that would be huge. Because if you
Yeah,
get, because I was looking over at like free agents, there's not a lot of good edge rushers out
right.
there that just that I can tell. I may be wrong, but like one of the better ones listed was actually Malik. Who's the guy we got from Buffalo? Reed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he
Going
was
to
like one of the
Denver.
better ones listed. I'm like,
Mm,
if he's one of the better players available, there's not that many good edge rushers out there. So if he can get Vinovic, just use him as a cheap replacement for him, someone who can come in and step in, cause some disruption. I wouldn't be opposed to it.
okay. And then Jalen Ramsey, we all know would
Oh yeah, I would
be
definitely
a
take Jalen
fan
Ramsey.
favorite. I'm pretty sure blow the roof off of Pittsburgh if that was ever announced, Mike. But nonetheless, we have to wait. We have to wait it out, and you know, see if we can pull them.
Oh, I would love to be able to lay in Jalen Ramsey. I
Mike,
would die a happy man.
there are five teams that replace their head coaches this offseason, Mike, and we face three of them next year. The two that we don't face would be Frank Reich over in Carolina and also Sean Payton in Denver. However, those are the two that we don't face. The three teams that have new head coaches that we do face, Mike, are the Cardinals, the Texans, and the Colts.
Just based on their records alone last year, we should beat those teams.
You're right. You're right, Mike.
But you
And
know how it is though, like when teams get those new coaches, man, look out.
right.
That stuff can be dangerous.
And the other two, of course, Sean Payton and Frank Reich. I mean, they're really great football minds. Sean Payton's done things well, being a
Mm-hmm.
head coach. So I'm fine with not playing them. Of course, I don't really see the Panthers and the Broncos doing anything amazing in the next couple of years, but I do like the fact that we will be facing some first year coaches. I think our schedule's coming together really nice for us,
Yeah.
Mike, with a lot of just different things going on with the divisions we're playing. I really feel the only team that should in fact beat us, if I even want to, for lack of a better term, I think it would be the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
Any other game, like those 16 games, I think are totally winnable for us. And if we play to the level of where we were at the end of the season and moving forward, in other
Mm-hmm.
words, just getting playing better than we did last year, I think that 16 out of these 17 games are totally winnable for us, Mike. And you know what? Time won't only tell. Maybe San Francisco will be in a bad place at this time. You just
Yeah,
don't
you
know.
never know.
You don't know. I like it, Mike. I like the way things are looking for the 2023 season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, you don't want to get too cocky. You don't want to get too
No,
confident,
no,
of
no.
course. But, at the end of the day, when you sit back and you look at things, it's pretty exciting, man.
It is. We they went 9-8 in a rebuild year.
Yeah,
Not as good as Kansas City went in the Super Bowl in a rebuild year, but hey, for where we
right.
were, I will take 9-8 in a rebuild year with a rookie quarterback. A lot of young players, a terrible offensive line, and injuries happen. And I'm gonna kind of piggyback what you said there. Like we don't know where San Francisco is going to be.
Right.
What if they get? What if they lose Bosa? What if
And
he's
you're
hurt?
right. What if you lose
That
Bosa?
he's that's like us losing TJ Watt. How is that going to affect that defense? So
And at some
it
point,
in injuries play a huge part in the schedule. And the Steelers were lucky last year. Like we only lost what? We didn't lose any of the offensive linemen. So that's why
right,
I'm preaching offensive linemen in the draft because it's very we what all but like a handful of snaps this year we played with the same offensive line. That's not going to happen.
right.
You need depth. You need better players on that line. So if some of these starters become backups on this line, and these one or two rookies we draft, or a rookie and someone in free agency to take this line to that next level, because this line is good enough to beat like the teams we beat next year.
Yeah,
This line's not good enough to beat the San Francisco's, the Chiefs, the Eagles of this of the NFL.
right.
We need to take that offensive line needs to take that next step in talent wise. Like we have the talent wise at the skill positions, even though I'm not 100% sold on Kenny Pickett, but that's just me. But a lot of people think he is that guy. But okay, I'm going to roll with that narrative. We have the skill position players. We have the skill position players on the defense. Now we just both lines need to take a, a big leap forward, and I think this team should be able to win at least 10 games next year. That's my early position, and I'm prediction, and I'm sticking with it throughout the whole year.
Something a little interesting, like about the offensive line, right tackle Chuso before he Mike has been an Iron Man over the past 3 years. He played 3,480 snaps. He started 50 of the team's 51 half games, counting the playoffs.
Mhm.
Only Cam Hayward on this team can match that. Like Chooks, is he somebody that the Steelers would he be retained? Is he going to be a part
Yeah,
of?
because he's still under contract. He signed a decent contract last year. Um, I wouldn't mind us taking like if one of those top tackles is there in the draft, I wouldn't mind taking him. If
Absolutely
one of the
not. Right.
if you can get someone at left tackle to move Dan Moore over to right and have him and Chooks fight for the right side, I wouldn't be opposed. If we can find someone who's a better left tackle than Chooks or right tackle than Chooks, put him there, and you can have Chooks out to the left side where he played in college, but players can bounce around on the line anywhere. But he's a capable starter. He played all those stats. You'd think he would know the snap count by now. My man, how many times did he false start? Anytime there's a false start on the line, everyone just looks at Chooks.
It's really impressive, Mike, with that right tackle from Philadelphia. They were showing how fast he is
Oh, Lane
um,
Johnson.
on the snap count, and it looks like he's offside every single play.
Mm-hmm.
But that is how good he is because
Yeah.
they went back in from slow motion
Oh
and showed
God.
that he is moving as the ball is moving. It's unbelievable, Mike. It looks like he is offside every play,
Yeah.
but it's just because he's that much better than everybody
Yeah.
else.
I think like Kelsey has a sensor on his hand, and then so does Lane. So when it starts to move, he just knows when to move. He feels it
Yeah,
buzz.
that's what it
And he
looks
did
like.
that. I know it is freaky, and he does look like he steps every time. Maybe that's what Chuke's trying to do. Maybe
Maybe.
Chooks is that good, but he doesn't have that recognition like Lane Johnson does.
Right. Mike, a couple other things here. Let's see. Let's
Mm-hmm.
see.
Mm-hmm.
The we were okay. We were just talking about the Chiefs briefly. Argument came up this morning. I saw. Maybe it was yesterday. The Kansas City Chiefs, Mike, are they a dynasty?
They've won what, two out of the past four Super Bowls?
Yeah,
If they can win, let's say three out of five, three out of six, I put them in a dynasty mode.
they would be the team of the decade for you, basically.
Yeah, they would start to be that team of the decade as long as like, say, if St. Louis rebounds, makes it back to the Super Bowl and wins. Ooh, they can have a little conversation in there. But I have a feeling if they win next year, dynasty. If they win 2 years from now, three out of six, dynasty.
Yeah, I'm hesitant to make them a dynasty, and here's why. I mean, you had the Steelers who did it 4 and 6 years. You had San Fran who won throughout the '80s. The Cowboys won 3 out of 4 in the '90s.
Yeah.
The Patriots, of course, won 100 in the last 20 years. But the Kansas City Chiefs, Mike, I'm still yet to be convinced that they are a dynasty team. I know that they are having a very very good run in 3 Super Bowl appearances and 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
2 of those wins. But again, I'm still not sold that they're not the Seattle Seahawks of this decade. Like I
Ooh.
said, you see these teams, they have this window of 5 years basically. You try to win as much as you can. I want to see what this team does after some other teams catch on to them, adjust, figure them out, and figure Patrick Mahomes out. And once that happens, after about the fourth, fifth year, then I think we'll have an idea if this is a dynasty or not. And like you said, I mean, if this team shows up in a Super Bowl again next year and wins, that's a big if. You got to remember this team had a hell of a time beating Cincinnati. Um,
Yeah.
Cincinnati beat them a whole bunch of times in a row.
Yeah.
Buffalo is only going to get better every year because they also have a draft and free agency and things like that. They're going to be trying to improve their team. It's going to be to me. It's way too early to call Chiefs a dynasty yet. It's going to at least be 2 more seasons. I want to see if they can get in there. If they can get in there and win a Super Bowl, you then could start to talk. Otherwise, Mike, at the end of the day, once this decade comes and goes and a new team becomes that, if it was at this point, I would be hesitant to really separate them from the Seattle Seahawks and teams like that over time that basically filled the window opposed to being
Yeah.
dynasty of that decade.
Yeah. I see what you're saying, and it kind of puts me in mind of like when Crosby, Malkin, Letang, and Fleury they won that first Stanley Cup, and then they
Mm-hmm.
went that long time without winning. Then they finally won that second one. Then it was like, okay, they finally won their second one, but how good are they? Then they won that third. It's like, okay,
Right.
they fulfilled their potential. So it's like kind of like it was like unfair to that group just to win one championship in any sport.
Right.
The amount of things that have to go right, then you win that second one, and then people say, "Well, how good really are you?" Then you have to win that third, and I think that's kind of what's happening with Kansas City. They won one, lost one, won another. Okay, so they have two. They won two out of their three trips. They're this group, but how good are they? It's
Right.
kind of like they're being punished for being good. Like
Right.
you're good, but you're not like this good as these teams there. So I think that three, if they win a third and five or three out of six, they would
Then you
be
could
to me they
probably
would be a
start.
dynasty, and they quote unquote Mahomes fulfilled his potential. It's
And beyond that, I mean, people were saying he's still so young and he's won
he's
so
only
much. And
27.
the thing is, if he can continue to be that quarterback,
Yeah,
and that's a big if, Mike, because like I said, the teams in the AFC that are good, they are very good.
yeah.
And after about 5 years, you really kind of get to feel if this guy is going to be the real deal or not. Look at
Hey,
Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson
oof.
was a premier quarterback for quite a few years. But then what happened? People figured him out. The team wasn't as good as they were during their heyday. Now he's on a team. No,
Oh,
so you know what I mean?
so
Do I
I
see Patrick Mahomes being a Russell Wilson? No, I don't. But you just got to kind of think along those lines.
see I thought like maybe like if Russell Wilson was going to end up being, or excuse me, Mahomes was going to end up being a Russell Wilson, it would have happened a lot sooner. It would have happened that year they lost to Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl, then coming back that following year and just being a complete disaster, and he wasn't. And like right now, if you compare his like his first whatever years in the league to Brady's, he already has 100 more touchdowns passes than Brady's. They have the same amount of Super Bowls. I think their Super Bowl records almost identical at this point in their career. So I think he's well on his way. I don't think he's going to have that downfall like Wilson did. I think he can adjust to being a pocket passer. Yeah, a lot of the stuff that he does on the move. He's mobile, but he's not predicated on being able to do that. Yeah, I think he can sit back there, read a defense like Brady did. So even if he does gets hurt, I think he's still going to be able to be that effective
Let's say
pocket
this.
passer. I he's well on his way to being one of the best.
Let's say this, Mike. A couple years goes by. He's back there. You start running into salaries just like with everybody else.
Oh yeah,
So they're going to pay their guy. He's their franchise quarterback, of course. And let's say Travis Kelsey decides, you know what, I want to make some more money. I'm going to land me a job in Tampa Bay, for example. And this guy goes here, and of course they lost Tyreek Hill last year. And then a couple of your guys from defense start going other places. I want to see. To me, I have to see what he does in that period of time before I can decide whether. And again, don't get me wrong, he's way better than Russell Wilson, but I need to see more. You know what I mean? It's hard to say at this point if it's a dynasty. They're off to a good
okay.
start. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to pull straws here to say that he's not. I'm just not convinced yet that it's a dynasty. That's all I'm saying. Also, Mike, we can switch over real quick here because I do want about 12 minutes left in the show. A couple of
What do
things
you
I
want?
do want to talk about
What
other
do you
than
want?
football. Did you
Here,
see
go.
this
You got
guy,
this. Go play.
this
Okay.
kid at the Pitt game on Saturday or on might have been yesterday, Tuesday's game when Pitt played Boston College? You know how they do these things where you have a guy come out on the court and he shoots like half court shots, and
Yeah.
this kid, Mike, he's from the Oakland Zoo, the student body in Pittsburgh here, and he got to go out on the court. From what I understand, he was 3/4 of the way. So basically, by the 3 point line on the opposite side,
Mm-hmm.
he winds up like a baseball throw, throws the ball down there, swish, 3/4 of the court. Mike, he wins free rent for a year at university.
Well done.
How
I
cool
like
is
it.
that?
That is
How cool is
awesome.
that?
That is amazing.
I
Yeah,
don't
dude.
know what these kids pay, but I
Oh,
can
that
imagine it's a
is
lot of money.
a lot of money. And now that he has free rent, my man is gonna have to buy drinks for every party. People are like, "We know you have the money. You're not paying
Right.
rent."
It was amazing, Mike. It was really amazing. I love seeing this. You like to see the guys at the half court shots. You like
Oh
seeing
yeah,
guys at 3 points, 3/4 of the court, Mike. He winds up like a baseball, throws it, nothing but net.
I
Great for
like it.
him. Absolutely. I always like seeing that kind of stuff. So good for him.
I love it.
Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball will expand by two teams by the end of the decade. Like Nashville or Charlotte in the American League will land a baseball team, and Montreal in the National League will be back. You recall the Expos who were there for a minute. They turned into the Washington Nationals actually.
Mm-hmm.
And also one other thing in baseball, like Oakland. Oakland is moving to Vegas in the next 3 years. So
They
Oakland, the A's are joining the Raiders. They will be in Vegas. So you got these big moves. You got either Nashville or Charlotte, and the American League will be getting a team. In Montreal will be getting a team back in the National League. Oakland's moving to Vegas. Side note: Tampa Bay is getting a new stadium within the next 5 years. But you gotta like these things that are happening in baseball because baseball, which used to be the national pastime here in the United States of America, it certainly isn't that anymore. And now that the long ball chase is gone, I mean, really, who's watching this game unless you live in the Bronx?
Yeah. I don't understand why expand in baseball. There's so many bad teams in baseball
You're right.
with no salary cap, which fine, whatever. These billionaire owners should be able to afford players, but we've seen that here in Pittsburgh that you can't. How about this? Instead of expanding, how about contract the Pirates and another team that does not spend any money to compete. Just put us out of our miseries,
All
get rid
right.
of this team, or move this Pirate team to Nashville, or move this Pirate team to Montreal.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Montreal gave us Mario Lemieux, so I don't want to give them the Pirates. That's kind of disrespectful.
Yeah.
So I apologize, Montreal there. But move this Pirate team to Nashville. That would be fitting.
Yeah, I like it. I just think in baseball, like they need to come up with some better ideas. Baseball is
They
falling
don't
by the
need more
wayside.
teams.
Nobody's excited about the sport anymore, except
No,
for
they're
people that live in the Bronx and
yeah.
and have the Yankees as a team. Other than that, I'm like,
I,
baseball is a dying sport in my
it's a
opinion.
boring, boring game.
Yeah,
It's so boring, and they take forever. There's lefty righty matchups. Like a pitcher will come in and face one batter, and then he's out. Then another pitcher
he can
comes
throw
in and
one
face one
pitch.
bat. Yeah, and it's over and done. It's so boring. They turned a boring game, made it even more boring. I
Mm.
didn't think it was possible. It, give me these guys juiced up.
I love the juiced up time. That was my favorite period of
That's when baseball
baseball.
was fun. Everyone knew they were juicing. The league
Yeah,
knew they were juicing. The players knew they were juicing. The media knew they were juicing. The
we just
fans
wanted
knew
to
they
see
were.
long balls
I
into
just
give
want to
no
see
shit.
long ball. Yeah.
I
I want
didn't
to see
give a
long
shit.
balls and pitchers striking people out because their arms are all juiced up and they can't feel any pain. Fuck yeah.
My favorite era was '98. It was Sammy
Yeah.
Sosa versus Mark McGwire. These guys, you couldn't wait. You couldn't wait to watch their
Yeah.
bats. And you know what I mean? To say that about baseball, it's amazing to me that you couldn't wait to see these guys at
Yeah.
bat. But and
Yeah.
any given at bat for the winner of the fence, it was
Yeah.
exciting, Mike. And like you said, let them juice. I mean, geez,
Let
oh
them
man,
juice. Yeah.
it isn't a secret anymore. It isn't
No.
like these things are taboo anymore. The guys in sports are taking performance
Yeah.
enhancing, whatever it is,
Eh,
whether it's illegal or whether it's from GNC, they're putting stuff in their body to
yeah.
make themselves better. Let the guys juice. You
I,
know what? It's their
yeah.
body. If they want to put their body at risk to play the sport and to be successful, that's on them.
Yeah. And people want to say, oh, they're cheating the game, but yet they romanticize pitchers that, would put grease in their hair and spit balls and they would do stuff like that. That's romanticized. But these guys juicing themselves up is vilified. I don't understand it. And let's not forget, people always want to say, well, Hank Aaron did it the right way. Hank Aaron was popping greenies like everyone else back in the day.
All right.
Greenies are amphetamines to get themselves loaded up
Yeah.
for a game. All these guys would do anything to get a competitive advantage. There's a story, I don't know.
Anybody that
I
hits
don't
over
know. Yeah.
700 home runs in their
Yeah, like
career has something going
like
on.
Babe Ruth tried to inject himself with bull semen to get, he thought it would add more testosterone to him, make him stronger. This shit
Yeah,
has been happening all the time in baseball. People cheat all the time in baseball. People cheat all the time in every sport to try and get a competitive advantage.
absolutely. And like you said, I mean, anybody again that hits over 700 home runs in their career has done something.
So
I don't
yeah.
care who you are because we've seen the best of the best. And as you stated,
Hmm.
they had to also do a little bit here, a little bit there
Yeah.
to get to that point. And that kind of gives you an idea. Nobody can do it without doing those things. So,
Yeah.
you know, I think
Uh,
that's a telltale sign. If you could hit
like
700, you definitely did something to help
if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
you.
If you're not
Right.
trying to find a competitive advantage, come on now. Yarmer Yager would always get checked for the illegal curve on his stick. Okay,
Right.
come on now. That's like batters corking bats, pitchers, grease balls. Like was it like Gaylord Perry would always do stuff for the baseball, and it's just Gaylord. He's just out there trying to get an advantage. Oh, Barry Bonds, Sosa, McGuire, juiced villains. Get
Yeah.
it the fuck out of here.
One more interesting sports thing I do have, Mike. This is going to go back to football for just a second. You know that 73 points were scored in the 1984 AFC Championship game between the Miami Dolphins and the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's the most ever in a conference championship game. Think of this matchup, Mike. It was Dan Marino and the Pittsburgh Steelers playing in the AFC Championship game. Dan Marino wins this game, and like I said, there was 73 points for the most ever in a
Mhm.
conference championship. They go on to play the 49ers and lose. But do you know that the Steelers gave the 49ers their only loss that
No way.
year?
I
Listen
did
to
not
that, just all
realize
that
it.
different stuff that went on in that. And that's the reason I brought it up, and I brought it up last, and it's kind of all over the place. But
Yeah.
listen to this one more time. 73 combined points between the Dolphins and the Steelers in the 84 AFC Championship game. Dan Marino versus the Steelers. Marino and the Dolphins go on to play San Francisco in the championship, who only had one loss. And the only loss in that San Francisco season was against the Steelers. And then San Francisco ends up going and beating the Dolphins in the Super Bowl. I just thought, what an amazing stat and what an amazing
Yeah.
group of information that is.
That's why, yeah,
I wasn't aware of this. I didn't
45
know
to
this.
28, and then my God, that's insane.
It is insane. I just
Who would have
like I
thought?
said, I kind of came across it. It was random,
Yeah,
and I thought, where do I even stick this in the show? But think of all that.
it's wild. That is wild.
And we must have went downhill heavily after that because
A little bit.
mid to late '80s was
Oh, that was a.
far from this
Oh,
time.
you young and Steeler fans don't know the miseries of the '80s.
Falling outside of those sports, one more thing. I watched AEW wrestling last night. It's inferior. You know what it has? It has the feel like WCW had to me when you had
It's
WCW and WWF.
mm-hmm.
I'm watching this AEW, and it really has a WCW feel. It almost feels
Like a knockoff WCW feel.
like a knockoff WCW. In the way that the guys that are on the mic or it's just everything reminds
They're
me of
not. Yeah,
WCW.
yeah. At least like WCW, like they would open. You would have like your luchador matches or your cruiserweight. Then they put on great matches. You had like what the young Chris Jericho, Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, um, God,
ACW had
Ultimo
the
Dragon.
old Chris Jericho.
They had yeah, and Rey Mysterio to open up, and then you would have bam, like the NWO, and that was exciting. AEW, it's just people blading themselves. John Moxley can't walk out there without cutting
What is
himself,
what is
and
he?
like all their stars are like they look like random people off the street. Like when you watch
Yes,
wrestling, you want to watch larger than life people. Like
exactly.
I
That's
want
what
someone like
John
give me someone.
Moxley reminded me of. John Moxley's
He
out
looks
there.
like a drunkard out
He's
there.
supposed to be a tough guy. He's supposed to be real tough. And I thought
No,
this guy ain't no
like
bigger than
like
I am.
like who would have thought though coming out of the Shield, Roman Reigns would be the guy,
Yeah,
followed by
right.
Seth Rollins, and then it was like Dean Ambrose, John Moxley. And like when John Moxley left WWE, he went back to that independent. I'm just gonna blade myself, hardcore wrestling. That
Not a fan.
yeah, like
Not
yeah,
a fan.
like you might get some 5-star rating matches there, but I
I can't say that I
uh,
did.
wrestling's all about making money, and AEW's not making money.
I gotta
It's
say that
boring.
I did
I tried it.
enjoy.
I tried it out, man. When it first came on, there were like some cool things going on, and then it's just gone downhill. It's
I
just
do gotta say that I enjoyed the women again. On Monday night, I tried I watched WWE Raw. I loved the women's match, and then again last night, I do like the women. That's the one thing I come to the conclusion: doesn't matter what federation it is, when there's women rolling around on the ground,
nah.
it works for me.
If they're unathletic and can't wrestle, I can't watch it. This is terrible.
They've all been good. Like I said, I have no complaints about the women.
Now
Like the
they have a hate.
Night Court Revival You remember the show Night Court
Yes,
with
yes,
Bull and
yes,
Judge Harold T. Stone and Laws?
yes.
Did you see this? They have a new Night Court
I
revival.
saw it was out. I haven't had a chance to watch it. I saw John Larroquette is back.
Yes.
And like one of the clips I saw is like, he was going into the judge to like apologize to her because it's her character is the original judge's daughter. And he's like,
Mm,
the only reason I came out of retirement for this job is because of who your dad was. And
yeah.
I did it for him, and so I'm going to do it for you. I'm going to do exactly what I did for him for you. They had that nice little throwback to him, and that was like one of my favorite shows growing
I
up.
gotta say, I did. I enjoyed it as a kid. It was on when we were kids. And it was something that was always on. You know, our parents like, "Here's
Yeah,
the big show." So I think that's interesting. Like, I might get
yeah.
into the new
Me
new
too.
Night Court revival.
I might hop into that.
Finally, Kevin Feige confirms Deadpool 3 will be rated R, Mike. Deadpool 3 will be rated R.
It needs to be, even though it is under Disney, but everyone wants to watch Deadpool 4. Deadpool is a R-rated character. That's how he was in the comics. That's how he was in the first two movies, and that's how it needs to be in the third.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
I love it too because I love how Deadpool pokes fun at all these movies.
Like, right,
And hopefully now that he's under Disney now, because he would make fun of like the Marvel X-Men movies. Hopefully now he can make fun of these people. He kind of did
right.
now, starting with they had the one character played by James Brolin who also did Thanos, making fun of him that way. So hopefully he'll be able to make fun of the other Marvel movies. Because
Well,
Deadpool's the only one who knows that he is not a real person, that he's a comic book character.
we are unfortunately running out of time. Mike, why don't you guys tell everybody about the website?
It is twodumbyinsers.com. You head on over there, and boom, the first thing you see is the most recent episode right there with the link to YouTube. Scroll on down through, there's links to Spotify, Facebook, Twitters, Instagrams, email addresses, everything you need. Everything you need about the Two Dumb Yinzers is over at twodumbyinsers.com.
Go check it out, everybody. And we are live every day from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. And the show that we do every day does get uploaded over on Spotify at 8 o'clock in the evening. So if you want to listen to this show by way of podcast, 8 o'clock this evening, this will be uploaded over on Spotify. Check it out. Like, you ready for trivia?
Bring it.
All right, so this is a Pirates trivia. I wanted to throw you for a loop today.
Oh, like, the
Pirates
show's
trivia.
going great. We talked about the Pirates for like 2 minutes. Now you got to bring them back.
We got the team in Bradenton. They're getting ready, Mike. We have spring training games will be here before you know it. So I decided to throw you a curveball today, throw you a spitball, and they have a
Cheater.
Pittsburgh Pirates trivia.
All right.
All right, here we go. You ready?
I am ready.
What was the worst game day attendance in team history? And I'm going to give you numbers
Okay.
to choose from. What was the worst game day attendance in team history? We're talking about the Pittsburgh Pirates. Was it A, 56? Was it B, 17? Was it C, 560? Or was it D, 170? Let me give you this information one
Hmm.
more time. What was the worst game day attendance in Pittsburgh Pirates team history? A, 56, B, 17, C, 560, or D, 170?
See, normally I go with C, but that seems a bit too high for a bad one. So I'm gonna go with D. No, no, I check that. Check that. I'm gonna go with B.
17 people?
B 17 people.
All right. What was the worst game day attendance in for Pirates team history? 56, 17, 560, or 170? Mike says 17 people. Mike, do you want me to lock you in?
Lock it in.
All right. Locked in. The answer, Mike, is 17 people. That is the record for the worst game day attendance in Pittsburgh Pirates history. I don't have the year on that. They did not give me the year.
Yeah.
If you want to go look that up,
I
feel
love it.
free.
I love it.
17 people, Mike. 17 people.
I love it. I love
And
it. That is the Pittsburgh Pirates.
yes. And it's sad because, like I said, prior to 30 years ago, it was a proud franchise, winning
Yeah.
five, six World Series,
Yeah.
having some of the greatest players of all time. And just what happened to the team in the past 30 years has been a shame. But yes, like 17 people at one point showed up for a Pirate game. I would think that maybe just maybe the fans would finally stick to their
Yeah.
guns and hold out until this team starts making some moves to help and try to get right around 17 people. Maybe that will get Bob Nothing's attention.
You would think, you would hope, but F Bob nothing.
He'd be there with a dumb smile on his face. But hey, do you have anything before we take off today,
um, Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks
Mike?
for joining us.
Absolutely. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. We appreciate every single one of you. Really appreciate it, as always. And for Ryan, Mike, two Dumb Gamers, have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.